Hi everybody, we are now at the end of our second week of training. That's right, it is Friday, and today I have Miss Blanco with me because those of you that have been following us, last week Leah was here with me, right? And we were talking about the theme of the summer that she worked on for the kids, that is show them up, right? But there's also a theme, right, Miss Blanco?
That's
that
right.
we do every year, specifically just for the young people. And that's why Ms. B is joining me today. We want to talk a little bit about that and just share everything that goes into building the lives of our young people, right? So, Ms. B, like, if we have a theme for summer and for the kids and all of that, why is it that we need a theme for the young people, or what's the purpose behind it?
Well, I think looking back at it when we started or when I came in about 7 years ago, it was always just having young people here and not knowing what to do with them.
Yeah.
And throughout the years, I think that the Lord has just placed in my heart to have something special for them. More than just coming for a week of service where they get to, be the hands and feet of Jesus. They get to come to a place where they can refresh and refocus before going back into the morning routine, which is being at the day camps. So that's kind of how this whole let's have something for the young people kind of came up.
Yeah, and I remember, like, even when I had started and I kind of did core team and being able to serve and do the camps, there was like this importance that you guys shared us about. We can't go every morning to the kids if we're serving out of an empty vessel, right?
Yeah.
So I remember that back then we used to call it the afternoon program, but I know that, like, we call it refresh and refocus because I feel like now it's not just about coming in the afternoon and resting and not doing anything, but it's like so intentional, right? And I can feel that and understand that, right? So this year, our theme is continuously, it's here on our shirts. Maybe you guys saw it when we introduced our core team, they were wearing those shirts as well. So continuously, what does that mean?
Well, this year our theme continuously is found, as you can see on the shirt, in Leviticus 6:13. And it talks about this idea of continuously allowing the burnt offering that the passage talks about to never stop, like having fire then, to continuously be on fire. I think the Bible mentions to never burn out.
Wow.
And it is this idea that us as believers, we need to constantly not just be on fire for Jesus, but in that specific time, the Levites who were responsible of really handling the offerings had a specific function, which they were to remove the ashes out of the fire. And so most of us in our Christian walk, we go through highs and lows, we call it through the valley and then the desert. But there are things in our life, ashes, that constantly need to be removed. And so as a believer, I need to come to a place and assess my walk with Jesus and say, is there anything that is dimming my light so that I can continuously keep burning for Jesus? Some of us are in the church for a long period of time and then we are like, oh, I'm so tired. But why? Because we allow certain things to come into our life. We allow certain things to take the place of, just that communion with the Lord. And it was so interesting for me that the burnt offering itself was something that was put in all day, right?
Yeah.
So people constantly needed to see the burnt offering on because it was a continuous, uninterrupted worship to them. And looking at us as young people, we are interrupted by so many things on a day-to-day basis. We have social media, we have our gadgets, our consoles, maybe even other things, right? I can only think of this generation being a technological generation. But some of us have our work, we have our jobs, we have other stuff to manage. And it's our lives and our intimacy with Jesus is constantly being interrupted. And so as a believer, we need to sit down in a place where we can say, what is interrupting this? And that's kind of where continuously comes in.
Yeah, and that's really awesome. And now for us to recognize those things, and then we're pouring it into this core team, right? how does that look practically for their lives as they're here training and they're going through different activities that we have planned out in the refresh and refocus part of the day, right? And to see and the sessions that you've given to them to remind them, you know, what are you gonna do to keep your fire burning? Not just to like, oh, I'll meditate on it, but how are you gonna put it into practice when it's time for camp prep? When are you gonna put it into practice when we're having a Shabbat time or a worship time or even base cleanup that we do on Fridays? Is your life going to reflect that fire that continues burning, right? And I really love that explanation. Thank you so much for being able to not just share that with us, but to prepare it, to take, you know, that time with God and for Him to be able to speak to you and tell you, you know, this is what the young people need this year. So guys, there you have it, continuously. My hope is that as this is an encouragement for us, for our team, for the core team, that it will also encourage you guys.
That's right.
That your fire, you know, what are the ashes that you need to get rid of so that your fire can continue burning for the Lord nonstop. Do not let it go out. I mean, we heard it right here from the one, the only, that gives us those challenges every week. I know you guys have been watching them and really love them, guys, but we just really wanted to also encourage you guys in that way. Any final words, Ms. Blanco?
If you are still interested in serving with us this summer, there is still time for you to come and experience the program with the kids, but also if you need some time to be able to refresh and refocus and maybe even some time to remove certain things from your life so that you can continually burn for Jesus, please let us know. We would love to have you.
Well, there you go, guys. See you next week.
BCE. Belize, changing Belize.